I mean, we're all good. We all bleed red. We're all gonna die someday. No, there's no fucking superheroes in this world. Nobody should play God. Nobody should go out and kill six Asians or even six blacks. Don't play God.
Right.
Let fate decides people's death. You
Right.
know, maybe they have an illness or whatnot, but nobody should be playing God and thinking they're better than anybody right now. All right, everybody. Drink Tokens podcast episode 5. I can't believe we're on 5 already. It's gone quick. And tonight we actually had a special guest, funny dude, entertaining. But we told him we're going to have to take a rain check, and he was cordial and he totally understood. And I also want to thank my producer here, the co-host, Mark. We're going to take some time out, take a break from our normal comedic shenanigans, our bar talk that everybody's used to and loves. And we're gonna talk about what's right now. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna be hard to guess, but it's Asian hate, and it's real. It's happening, and that's what we're gonna get into this evening.
Cool, man. So I just want to thank you too for bringing this up. I know we talked about it a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
We touched on it, but obviously in light of the Atlanta shooting recently, where 8 people died. This thing is becoming more than just like, single incidents. Some people may say they're random. I believe when we talked about it, it was a robbery. We talked about a robbery. We had a lady who got punched and then defended herself. So there's been a lot of different things, but this takes it to a whole new level when it's a mass killing, not one but 2 locations. So
I think wasn't it 3? I think it might have been 3 even that the gentleman sought out 3 different establishments. Well, yeah, I know 2 for sure.
Yeah, that's and we'll try not to mess up the facts. I think like us talking about it, the important part is that we're addressing it. But yeah, to your point, I mean, it sounded to me, and we could talk about it right now, but I guess I just wanted to clarify too for myself, like I'm not a perfect person. Obviously I'm white and Latino and mixed, so I don't have the Asian American angle to this, but like a lot of folks out there now, we're sympathetic in that, I think everyone has like different cultures at different times in history have had some sort of oppression put on them,
some type of discrimination and hate.
So you kind of get it, and then some people can kind of skirt by. I mean, I can probably skirt by for the average white person, so I don't really get it like that. So it's coming from a place of trying to understand what folks are going through, but when you're under the threat of violence, and especially when it escalates to a level where like nobody's safe, nobody, it could be a customer that's been in there a bunch of times. You could be a person going down the street. You could be going to a bank. Like this is something that sets everybody on edge.
I mean, what's the word? CNN, everybody use it right now. It's us Asians or Asians as a whole are hyper vigilant. That's the word I hear a lot. Hyper vigilant. Everybody's nervous. They're scared. Well, we're under attack. We're under attack. And it's not by just any single race. And, we don't want to talk about, solutions being race versus race or anything like that. It's all different races attacking Asians right now. And it almost feels like open season. I know that's kind of like a movie line or something, but but it's hitting close to home, and real quick, I want to speak on this. Atlanta, I had a buddy move out to Atlanta from the Bay Area. I used to bounce with them, work security with them. He moved out there not too long ago. So I got in touch with him and I messaged him. And he said, there's no doubt in his mind it was hate. It was racially motivated because he says there's not a lot of Asians in Atlanta. It's 5% Asians in Atlanta.
Right. Oh, wow.
So he said, if it's 5% in Atlanta and you go out and kill 6 Asians, I mean, come on. I mean, you pick that scenario, you pick that race.
Right.
And that's what he clarified with me.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a strong point. And let's sort of stretch out the Atlanta story. But I there's a couple things that are triggered in my mind. So when CNN
Mm,
says hyper vigilant, there's another term that's sort of like hype, like mass hysteria, and I don't want to
mm,
use it that Asian
yeah,
people are like vigilant. It's an important thing because like vigilantes, like the not the Hells Angels, what were the
mhm,
other, the Guardian Angels, like
yeah,
in the 70s and 80s, and I believe it's New York, but it went to other cities. Like they were formed to protect people against
yeah.
just a high volume of crime. So the aspect of being vigilant isn't necessarily a negative thing.
No, no, not. I'm
But
not saying it at
no, no,
all. I
no. I
think
know you're
vigilant
not
is.
saying. I know you're not saying it. But
Yeah,
when
I.
CNN says it,
Yeah,
it's
it sounds
in
aggressive.
response. No, no, no. But it's in response to hyper or hysteria, and I'm using
Yeah.
hysteria because I watched this YouTube the other day on the Japanese internment camps. Well, I don't know what the right word is internment, or it's not, maybe not, it's when
Concentration camp,
no, no,
internment
no,
camp.
right, right, right. It's not quite a concentration, but you know what I mean. Like
Sorry,
basically
sorry.
at during World War II, after Pearl Harbor was bombed, there was hysteria that
Oh yeah.
Japanese, whether they were Japanese American citizens or whether they were just Japanese on like green cards, whatever
Yeah.
that system was back then, were saboteurs or whatever you want to call it, working for the Japanese government. And everyone who had a Japanese family in their town basically was complicit. I mean, maybe there wasn't, but they were
Yeah. I mean,
complicit with,
even here in San Jose in World War II, San Jose, World War II, Japanese were put in camps here locally.
right. Well,
Yeah.
Tanforan and San Bruno was an old racetrack. I believe that was like one.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to this thing I was watching, it was basically this family who were strawberry farmers on the island I live in.
Mm,
And basically once Pearl Harbor happened, they had, and the government or whoever went around and put these posters up saying like, basically you have to get ready to move. They were basically had 6 days to leave all your possessions except what you can carry,
yeah.
and they were put on a ferry, taken to a train, and taken all the way to Southern California, to the Mojave Desert, wherever, and put in a
Hmm.
camp. And so
Yeah.
it was just like this whole like quick reaction. Everyone
Here's
is,
here's another term you can put with that. What you're
yeah.
speaking of is the xenophobia. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I don't
Xenophobic.
recall. I don't recall what it means exactly.
It just means you're scared and you don't like people that aren't similar to you.
Oh,
If
yeah,
someone's foreign, you're xenophobic, right?
right,
It's a phobia. You're
right.
not into anybody that doesn't have similarities from you, of you, that aren't from where you're from. You're not supportive of foreigners. You're
Right,
xenophobic.
right. And you might not even like put it in your head that it's like,
No.
we go to this church and we go to this store. It could be anything that fits that
Yeah.
category of just difference. But
Yeah.
anyway, so kind of going back to the just a little mini thing I'm talking about. So there was somebody who on this video that was sort of presenting the topic, and then the next video, so it was like two different videos. The next video actually interviewed one of the people, like a lady who's, who was basically about 20-year-old during that time, and she lived through that whole thing. So she was sharing her experience, and that really like added the depth to the story. But the other gentleman that was
Mm,
talking, he was using that word like hysteria.
yeah.
So when I hear vigilant, vigilant is more a reaction to all this crime and attacking and
Yeah.
negativity.
I
So
don't have a problem with being hyper vigilant. I don't You might as well be vigilant right now. People are getting
right,
pushed from behind. They're getting socked up on Market Street,
right. I guess yeah. No,
Daily City. There was a a gentleman being pushed,
right.
recently from behind.
Yeah. I
So
guess
I mean,
yeah, I guess is my point I'm trying to make it, which I'm not doing a very good job of, is that when the news says people are
mhm,
being like this road warrior Mad Max, like I'm
mhm.
gonna put a bunch of spikes in my car and I'm gonna walk around with shoulder pads that are like,
Yeah, yeah,
the it's like, no, that's not the word we should be saying. The word we should be saying is that there's a segment of America that's being ultra hysteric, or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
that are fucking going out here and doing all this shit. For whether it was like the previous administration hyping up the Chinese flu
Yeah.
or the Kung flu or whatever,
Yeah, that plays a big part. That plays a big part.
so yeah, but I mean, anyway, that's just where I'm going to take it. Like, I mean, the news saying that it's newsworthy because then you're going to focus on a regular Joe buying a gun, or a regular Joe getting pepper spray, or a regular
Yeah.
Joe, thinking like he has to protect his domain and going those extra lengths, and that's a story. But the reality
Yeah.
is like I was talking about earlier, it's like there's a point of view where, oh, here's a lot of coincidences. There's a white guy killed 8 people, another white guy did this, but then maybe a black guy did this, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe another Asian did this, or maybe somebody else did that. So it's really difficult
Yeah, I
to,
mean, there's plenty of people that don't want to call it racially motivated. There's
right,
plenty of people that don't
like
want
the
to call it
sheriff,
a
like
hate crime. I
taking it
mean,
right and taking it back to Atlanta,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the sheriff
Captain
spoke.
J. Baker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's interesting too. And
He was
so
taken
if I,
off. I don't know if you saw that.
yeah,
You saw that, right? He was taken off as a spokesperson. They're actually looking
right,
into his background now. So
right,
that guy's in for the things he said and the things he made aware. I mean, he's definitely in hot water right now, and
yeah.
that's pretty much his own fault.
Right. And if I play devil's advocate a little bit in this episode, it's not that I'm trying to be racist. It's that
No, no,
um
no, not at
like
all, not at all.
I just try to,
I got into it with this real quick. I got
yeah,
into it
please.
on two different levels. I got into it on two different levels on that issue. One in person and one in a comments area on a post. And the one in person was the somebody I came across didn't think it was racist, and then didn't think Jay Baker. He was hoping Jay Baker didn't lose his job or get reprimanded for how he verbally said it all went down. So that was one incident I had. And then in a comments section in an Instagram post, I didn't really get into it with this guy, but he also said, "How is this truly racist?" You know, so there's people out there
Right.
that you speak on coincidences and things. There's people out there that think it's just a coincidence, and they don't want to blame Trump. They don't want to blame Jay Baker. They don't want to, legally, they don't want to call it a hate crime. There's people out there like that.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. And so going back, so just, yeah, let me talk real quick on the Jay Baker thing. So I think like part of what he was saying was that he was almost like directly translating the statements, I'm sure, that the shooter, I forget his name,
Yeah.
was making about his mindset, right? Like, I have a sex addiction. This is the easiest connection. I can't blow my fucking iPad up and blow up Pornhub
Yeah.
and do all that stuff. So I go into this place to get some sort of satisfaction. That's the direct link. So that's what that guy was
But I
saying.
think Jay Baker did come up with, the gentleman was at the end of his rope. He was having a bad day. I think that's from Jay Baker, not from the mass shooter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but that's kind of what I'd have to like listen to it again, because that's the kind of thing I was getting. But at the same time, and this goes to your point of coincidence.
Yeah.
We don't have a coincidence anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're driving a car and you hit like a bus full
Yeah.
of people coming from a church that are a certain ethnicity, that's something that's probably a freak accident unless you meant to do it. But if Joe, somebody, or not to use Joe to confuse that with the sheriff, but if a person in state A and state B and state C and state D are getting attacked within a short period of time, just like the Black Lives Matter stuff, it's like, okay, this stops being a coincidence when you start having a tally, and it just continues to go and stuff like that. So to your point on this sheriff, like, he could have been trying in his head to be like, okay, this is the statement I got from him, so I'm going to be real police like and just stick to the text. But it's like, come on, bro. Like, he went like, and the other part of the story is that, right? So you said he went to 3 places, perhaps. We know it was at least 2, maybe 3. But the first one, he kind of was just shooting randomly and happened to kill, like, I almost want to say like 2 Mexican people, uh a
Yeah, he
lady, like
killed
a guy's
6
wife.
Asians and 2 non-Asians. But
Yeah.
the only reason he killed 2 other people that weren't Asian was they were in his line sight. They could have eyed him. They could have, you know, they were in the way of what he was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? They could have seen him in a lineup or whatnot, or
Right.
picked him out. So he had to kill those people. And I mean, it just came out today actually,
Mhm.
that there's an eyewitness that said and heard him say, "I'm here to kill Asians."
Right,
There's
right.
an
I heard
eyewitness.
that too. I heard that too.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the most damning fact against that. But to your point,
Yeah.
the fact that there were so many specifically Asian folks that were running the business or working there
Yeah.
versus like the other people that seem to be kind of caught in the crossfire, like you said, just
Yeah.
happen to be there. So you're getting blasted, which happens all the time. So yeah, to that fact, I mean, there's no doubt that this guy
Yeah.
was being not only perverse in that he had some sort of addiction but he was also targeting these people, and I always put it in my head too, like whether or not somebody tries to be overtly a racist, which we know that people are going to be, that there's still so much input that even he's going to say that this is the cause of this, he's still exercising those like tendencies of being a race. Like cops do the same
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they not all cops, right? Like most
Yeah.
cops are probably
Well,
good, but if
yeah,
someone's out there like specifically going, I'm gonna fuck with these kids that are black,
yeah.
maybe they're not trying to be racist, but they're just, that shit creeps in their head, and then you're
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
almost
I'm gonna fuck with them
subconscious at
versus,
times.
yeah,
Yeah, to speak on that, Trevor Noah, right? The Daily Show. Trevor
yeah,
Noah. He's funny, but he's got some great points. He brought this awesome analogy. He said, if a black guy went into a white neighborhood and killed
right,
6 whites, right? Would a white cop go up there and say he was having a bad day? He was at the
right,
end of his rope. A white cop is not going to humanize a black killer,
right,
right?
right,
Subconsciously, he's almost backing up the killer or humanizing the killer. And I don't want to say protecting the killer. That's a strong word, but no one's going to say that about a black mass shooter,
right,
right? He was
right,
at the end of his rope. You know how it is. No
yeah,
white cop's going to say that. So why did this white cop say that this time for the
right,
white shooter?
right. And you're totally right for that, to like pick out the statement of, that's the statement that should be, sorry, that should be the statement that's focused on, because you're totally right about that.
Yeah.
You're giving him a defense
Yeah.
versus like, we're looking at it, we're looking at the facts. He went here, 4 people, or whatever, 4 or 3 people were dead at the first place. He then went to the
Yeah.
second place,
And like I said, I
killed
talked to my
numbers and
friend.
done
By
case.
speaking to my friend who lives in Atlanta, I'm
Yeah.
5% Asian, right?
Yeah.
That's so low, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I live in the Bay Area. You're up in Washington. I mean, you go anywhere. I go anywhere today, and there's plenty of Asians. So this guy, put a hit out. He was a hitman. To me,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And well, I mean, the hitman thing it's interesting too, because you, like, for me, whenever I hear a hitman, it's that you're carrying out somebody's wishes.
Yeah, I think it's his own wishes. His own wishes.
Right, right. But I mean,
And
at
yeah,
the same time, like we were saying earlier, there's definitely political affiliations, and when maybe it's, I don't know if political is the right word when you think about the KKK or other groups like that.
Well, time will tell. It'll come out what
affiliation, like what,
or maybe
what he was looking at on the internet or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's all going to come to light here in the next couple of days.
Right. So that's the hitman. That's just what I was saying about hitman. But I agree. I think people that are willing to go and kill people, and then specifically groups of people, and then like you said, like multiple locations, like he went there, did what he did in the first spot, got back in his car. I think he said the next location was 30 miles or 30 minutes away, did it again, and was going to go somewhere else. Like at whatever point that he got caught, he basically had a tracker on his car because he was already in rehab for sex addiction. Not saying again that that's the cause, but he was already in a program of some sort, and they were able to, like, find out where he was, shut him down. And then again, like a lot of the memes or a lot of stuff on the internet, like you pointed out earlier, is like these guys, these shooters, white shooters, get arrested without any kind of thing, and then people of different ethnicities, like George Floyd, maybe are doing some small petty crime, but then get killed in the street in front of them. So like, why is this always like some
Yeah, and
sort of like a
other races
reoccurring thing?
are called thugs, right?
Yeah.
They're called
Right, right, right,
thugs or
right.
gang members, right?
Their approach with full force versus like this kind of
Yeah,
thing where this person killed 8 people and is taken peacefully to the
yeah,
jail and almost defended at a public conference or whatever.
yeah. And like I said, I was talking to my friend who lives in Atlanta now. He
Yeah.
says there's racism big time against Latinos as well. And I mean, it was funny. He said that, and then I was watching CNN. Whoops. All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello, we're still here. We're still here.
We're still here. We're still here. I got extra excited there.
There's a ghost in your house that's racist.
Yeah. 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 See, people are trying to stop our voice here.
Go ahead, bro.
So, anyways, I'm watching CNN, and of course they put a Asian American female there on the ground, right in front of the spa, right, to do a newscast. And a car drives by, and they yell "virus" out of the CNN reporter.
Yeah.
So that shows you the pulse of that area.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
So
I'm sure it's everywhere, but again, I feel like there's some sort of will to people that are verbally out there with that, and it's and I believe it's infectious, but I also like it's weird that it exists in anywhere really. I mean, obviously it's not weird because we have a whole history of it, but like, who's this person that drives around and is just like because I always have this thing as like a younger person, like if you're gonna go and because we've all seen like gangster movies and just like adored them to some fashion, and it's like, okay, maybe I look like, as a kid I probably wanted to be African American or black just because it's like hip hop was awesome, and you like a certain sport like basketball, and then sometimes that translates into other things, not the black part, but just like, okay, you watch a gangster movie, you want to be a gangster. You watch you watch a movie about rich and powerful people, you want to be rich and powerful and have a boat and a plane and all that. But then like
Wall Street, you want to be rich. Yeah.
Right. So some of those things though come with that lifestyle you have to live. And I'm not saying like the race thing is a lifestyle you have to live and it's negative or positive.
Well, it's funny you talk about movies and it's influencing you. I think, I'll say it. I think Trump influenced a lot of people.
Right.
I think a lot of impressionable people were super influenced by Trump, and they felt empowered, when he says China virus and Kung flu and, let's build a wall and no more immigrants. Stop, let's get to the airport. No more Muslims or whatnot. Trump kind of was their movie. They watched Trump, and it hyped them up.
Right.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. And maybe that's a little bit to the point that I was trying to get to, is like you have this empowerment, right? But the thing that you probably do not realize is that empowerment is a day-to-day exercise.
Yeah.
So you're going to drive. So that person that feels empowered is going to go down the street and yell some shit out. They're going to go to the store and maybe like diss somebody hard for like, doing something that's stereotypical. And at some point they're either going to get it. They're going to get that pushback, that vigilante, that whatever.
Yeah.
Or
that's where I come in.
Or they're gonna get or maybe through that process they get killed, right? Like so
if you're gonna shoot your mouth off and take that gamble, then you gotta step up. If you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the walk.
And that was the thing, that was the thing, sorry, just to kind of go back to what I was saying, that's the thing. As a kid, like I think I realized pretty quickly, like some people don't have it as maybe society doesn't make it as easy for certain people to do certain things, or other lifestyles like the gangster lifestyle is difficult because every day you're having to live that life, and then like there's police that are after you, and that could be even be taken to say if you're a certain ethnicity, or ethnicity just being you're maybe black or a person of color or something like that, where every little thing you do is going to be observed by maybe law enforcement or something like that. So it's just like this thing where I think like maybe it is just like white privilege or other types of privileges that exist that we really don't, like white privilege is the most obvious, but maybe other people have those
Yeah.
privileges and we just don't get it. But those are those things I think like people just don't realize. Like if you're gonna go down the street and you see an Asian person and you yell out virus, or like Jeremy, what was it? Jeremy Lin just had that thing in the G
Yeah.
League where somebody said something very similar to him.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
how is that person living their daily life where the first moment you get to say some shit like that, you're gonna do that because I
I think
mean,
it's I
it's
think
just
Asians are
crazy.
an easy target right now.
Yeah, yeah.
They're the blamer. You can blame them for the virus. You can blame them you lost your job. You can blame them that your small business went under right now. You can whatever. It's an easy blame game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
it's sad. I mean, you're talking about in the store and you're yelling stuff out. I mean, that's one thing where it came to me personally. Um, I wasn't there, but my wife went to the supermarket with the kids, uh, and she's going through the aisle, and without saying a race, kind of a prissy young lady walks by and says, "Excuse me," and my wife moves, and then kind of under her breath, she says, "Disgusting."
what?
And yeah, yeah, I couldn't believe it. My wife called me; she was pissed. And I said, "Well, was she talking to you? Do you think she was talking to you?" I was kind of being skeptical. And my wife says, "Well, she had an AirPod in. Maybe she was on the phone, but she did say, 'Excuse me,' and then a little bit of a pause, and then disgusting."
Wow, that's fucked up.
And I can only think during these days and times, I gotta assume maybe that was towards my family, and it sucks I wasn't there. I was at work.
Right, right, right.
So and these stories come out with family members and stuff and stuff when I'm not around. When I'm around, they got Shrek with them. I'm there, and I hope things are to a minimum. But when I'm not around, that's what I'm worried about right now. I'm really worried when I'm not around. Even my mom, I told my mom 3 weeks ago, you go to the ATM, you go to the bank, call me, I'll meet you there. Don't go to the bank solo, mom. You know,
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
don't
Anything
go to
that
the bank solo.
don't give people the opportunity, but at the same time, it's
No.
like, what kind of world are we living in? Especially like one like the Bay Area where you have every home's $1 million. You have Silicon Valley, you
Yeah.
have just the Mecca, one of the Meccas of California, and yet people can't go to the store or go to the
Yeah.
bank or
Yeah. My
even
my
have a
mom's old
regular.
fashioned.
Yeah.
My mom, she's 67, 68 now. She's old fashioned. She likes to go to the bank once a week, withdraw money or deposit money. And I told her that's got to end. You got to get on the online scene, learn it, love it. No more banking, mom. I told her.
Right,
I don't want to take that chance.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's hitting home. I think about 2 months ago, it was in my brain about this, but I thought, oh, it's happening in big cities, New York. And then slowly but surely it's creeping into my world, and it's hit my world.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think it's good that we're kind of taking a break, and we're discussing this.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I thought like would be good for the conversation, though we weren't able to manage it, is just like, and when we kind of had a disagreement about it, but it wasn't like a real disagreement. It was just
Yeah.
like, I think there's lessons learned. There's always lessons learned, but there's not always the lessons we want to learn. Like, so there's other, like after 9/11, like Middle Eastern, which, in some
Yeah, they were the
respects,
target.
right.
They
In
were the
some,
target.
and in some respects they're Asian, but then you look at it, it's not like necessarily like the Pacific Rim
Mhm.
Asian versus very close to Africa, the African continent. I mean, if you just
Yeah.
divide everything by continents, it's like it's a very west of Asia. But it's, so there's definitely groups that have been targeted, but it's
Hmm.
it's still like it's hard to say they have a way forward because this shit obviously is still going on. I mean,
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, is something the terminology is relatively new, but that's been going on for forever, in America.
Yeah. It's almost like we're picking a new race every couple years to hate and discriminate against and blame,
Right,
right?
right,
9/11, let's blame Middle Easterners. Oh,
right,
this dude has a turban. He's from India. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna hate on him.
right,
It's like he had
exactly.
nothing to do with 9/11, right?
Right, he's in your neighborhood at your like
Yeah.
neighborhood store, and so
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
the
yeah. He's a
easiest target
total
on your
different
map.
country,
Yeah,
total different country, right? He's
right,
not even he's he's probably not even Muslim, right?
Right.
He's a Punjabi or whatnot, and I'm gonna hate on him. So
Right.
that was
Exactly.
after 9/11, right?
Right.
So it's like it's our time now to be hated. Asians are being hated right now.
Right.
It's the blame game, and
Well,
you
even
know,
like, yeah, well, even back going back to like Vietnam, it's like, during Vietnam, you heard a lot of like
yeah,
slang and that kind of stuff. And then once Vietnamese people were able to come to America and set
yeah,
their set their feet in the soil and build businesses and stuff, they're part of our culture and stuff like
yeah,
that. Same thing with like Koreans, and Japanese after World War II, and all, like, all, well, even before that, obviously. But yeah, it's
yeah,
like it's all that kind of stuff. I mean, China right now is this like evil enterprise country. They, for in the news, that there's always sort of this human rights sort of issue. But I think for the most part, Chinese people have been here, and Chinese Americans have been here since, especially in the West Coast, like since the gold
yeah,
rush, and with the building the railroads and stuff like that. So it's very interesting that, like, there's pockets of the country, and there's obviously documentaries on all this kind of stuff, but pockets of the country, that are able to retain these like weird sort of core beliefs, and whether the core belief is I hate you, or just
yeah,
I love myself and then hate everybody.
yeah. Not everywhere is a melting pot, like where
Yeah.
you live or where it's very diverse. It's diverse, right?
Right.
Like I went, I'm half white. I went back to where my father's from, Kentucky, and it's like a whole different world out there, man. Whole
Oh yeah.
different world. You got to remember that the Bay Area is so diverse, right? It's
Right.
not like this everywhere. It's not like this. So I'm sure in Atlanta, there's plenty of people that hate Asians and blame Asians.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing to an understanding that you can develop. I was talking with my daughter today about her name, and she's always kind of wondering, like, like anybody, like, where did my first name come from? Where did my middle name come from? And the middle name one
Mm,
was easy because she's got the same middle name as my mom and her mom. So it's like Margaret. So I'm not her mom, but my wife's mom. So Margaret was that. First name is like a two name thing, and it's
yeah,
like, it's like, I don't remember how you got that name. Um, but then like when we look back at like when you were young, like I was uh raised in San Francisco. I went to elementary school. I had friends that had maybe African names,
mm,
or friends that had American names, but then their birth name is maybe more of a ethnic name of some kind. So you didn't really have like the Sophie, the Maggie,
yeah, yeah,
the Jane or something like that. And of course, some, like, a lot of names too are period specific. But when you grow up like that, and you have like your friends have names from the countries of their parents' origin or their grandparents' origin in honor of their family relatives. I mean, look at my name, Marcos.
yeah,
So it's always kind of interesting to again go to, like, when you look at other places in the country that are maybe like straight stock, like, this is
yeah,
pick
yeah,
your crayon box out of, pick your color out of the crayon box, and this is going to be your stark, or your rule going forward.
yeah,
It's kind of weird because I think most of us kind of grew up in, and I would assume for yourself, I don't know how many Asian folks were in your school, but I mean, where you're located, it's a lot more Latino, Mexican
oh yeah,
thing. So
oh
like
yeah,
that was probably like the majority. So it really just depends like where in the country. But at the same time, I think if you don't have that ability to grow up like that, where you have, and like your friend said,
yeah.
your
You're
buddy,
right. You're
you
right.
still have to
If you
seek
didn't
that
make
out.
if you didn't make a friend that didn't look like you might have turned out racist, right?
Right.
If you only made friends similar to you, same race, like the same food, unfortunately, you may grow up to have some weird values if you didn't
But
make a friend that looked opposite of you.
right, but to that point though, is like, I mean, I think it's almost like a necessity, just the way like you force kids to
Yeah.
study math or English or science. Like, if you don't have that part of your upbringing, you need to seek that out. And that's like part of the
Yeah.
problem with excuse me, part of the problem with, I think, education, but also just like where our infrastructure lies, you're very quick to give somebody help if they're an alcoholic or a drug addict.
Yeah.
If people are racist, like what are they going to get? You're going to get some like cultural awareness
Yeah.
somewhere at work,
Make
but
them
like
watch a Spike Lee movie. I don't know.
yeah, attend an NBA basketball game
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then go
yeah,
eat at a sushi restaurant. No, like you literally have to like, you have to enable, and not so much the government or the county or the city. People have to enable themselves to be like, okay, I'm fucking lacking in this department. I'm going
yeah,
out there and everybody is like an enemy if they're not my color. I'm afraid of that.
yeah.
And
I
it's
think,
like
I
you have
think,
to kind of like figure that out
yeah,
for
I
yourself.
definitely think America took maybe 2 steps back in the last 2 years or so.
What do you think? Oh, I mean, so okay. So what do you think
I think
was
with racism, I think we were no, I don't think we were in the clear maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it reached a plateau, obviously, over the summer, you know,
right, right,
and then now, of course, it's I mean, we're all good. We all bleed red. We're all gonna die someday. No, there's no fucking superheroes in this world. Nobody should play God. Nobody should go out and kill 6 Asians or even 6 blacks. Don't play God.
right,
Let fate decides people's death.
right,
Maybe they have an illness or whatnot, but nobody should be playing God and thinking they're better than anybody right now. That's
right.
my take.
No, I agree,
And
bro.
yeah,
100%.
and right now people want to hurt Asians, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the
Well,
next thing that's going to happen, obviously, you have that 76-year-old immigrant Chinese, I think, in San Francisco on Market Street that fought back, right? She grabbed a 2x4. I don't even know where she got that 2x4. Did you see that video? That lady fought off a 30-year-old assailant beating her up on Market Street. She fought him off, and
yeah,
that dude
that's
had to go to
dope.
the hospital. Yeah, but I think what's next, and I don't want to predict this, but I think some Asian is gonna go off, and he may or she may start killing people or anybody who attacks them. I think that's next.
Well, I
Someone's
think
gonna
yeah,
lose it. Some Asian's gonna lose it who's packing heat and just it had enough. It's had enough.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I think I mean I'm not for. I mean, I'm for protection. That's a right we all have.
Mm.
This is what the Second Amendment. You know you can have a gun, you can have multiple guns, and you can protect yourself. I hope again with using the word vigilante. I do fear that word because there are groups that go out, kind of like Batman,
Yeah.
right? Like you kind of are going out there to stop things, but at the same time
Yeah.
you may end up fucking somebody up that doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. Like right
But
now we have in the
everyone's
Bay Area, we
wait,
got
but to be
listen
very
to this
clear,
though.
just to be very
Yeah.
clear, everyone has the right to protect themselves.
Oh,
Period.
for
Point
sure.
blank.
For sure.
And that's our right. That's given to us in the Constitution. But sorry, go ahead with the Bay Area.
Yeah, the Bay Area's got have you heard of AWA?
No, it sounds like a wrestling
It's a
league.
play on NWA, but it's
Okay, okay, okay,
Asians
okay,
with attitudes.
okay.
Asians with attitude. It's a group of male and females protecting neighborhoods, protecting Oakland Chinatown, protecting people.
Yeah,
AWA, they're out there. They're out there protecting and serving on their own nickel the community, the Asian community.
that's sick. I like that. Sick in a good way. It's dope. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
need protection, like you said. Like, I mean, if you're like somebody's mom, like, I mean, that was one thing when we lived down by Lake Merritt in Oakland, and as I mentioned before in a previous story, like, uh, there's definitely like these racially, it's not racially divided, but it's just how cities work. There's like right
Yeah.
by that Lake Merritt area is like a little mini Chinatown, right? There's
Mm.
Asian shops, there's restaurants, there's all kinds of things, and you see a lot of like little grandmas and
Yeah.
moms and little kids and parents walking around, and it's easy if you are hate filled to go down there and mess with
Hmm.
people. And it's like there needs to be groups like that. There needs to be like, because the police aren't there sitting there on the corner. The police sit
Yeah.
there in the corner by their police station, or by areas where there's like extra political influence to say, hey, go sit over there. But these little neighborhoods are just business transactions, and there's a lot of people, because that's culturally what they're used to and where they like to shop. But it's like like all these things need to be real, they need protections and stuff like that, because
Yeah,
once
because
somebody's on the target.
this crime is going up, right?
Yeah.
What's the statistics in the past year? Asian assaults have gone up 150%,
Right.
right? 150%. Out of that 150%, 68% against Asian women, to be
Mm,
exact. Right?
right.
These are real facts. So I live with 3 Asian women, my wife and my kids, right?
Right.
So they're basically that statistics telling me we have a high chance of being assaulted here right now.
Right. Well, higher, yeah,
So
higher than the average, say, white female, or the some other female, or
yeah.
some other thing. Yeah.
So I think if you're not prepared, you're a little late to the game. I mean, I'm always prepared, or I try to be prepared. So
Yeah.
you know, even my wife right now doesn't want to really go to Costco on her own or do anything on her own. She'll do little things around town, but if it's a big event,
Right.
she's waiting for me, you know.
Right.
And it's weird that's the way we got to live right now,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
yeah. And that's the sad part, is that you shouldn't have to at all. And it doesn't take very much for, some interaction to go sideways. And then you feel, you end up, especially if it's a female who's at a higher risk of
Yeah.
somebody throwing a weight around, or pushing a shopping cart like a little aggressively, and then you like, something happen, it doesn't take very much to kind of end up in a bad spot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, even had to talk with my kids about the climate and what's going on and what could happen, and be be aware.
right.
Watch your back. Always watch your back. I tell my kids when you
Right.
leave out the front door, you're walking a dog. Look around the corner. Look both ways on the sidewalk. Then start walking.
Right.
Don't just assume no one's there. You know, if you walk
Right.
by something, you walk by someone, make some eye contact. Let them know you're there. You're walking the dog. You're here. You know,
Right.
it's
So,
just crazy.
yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask you, because in preparation for this, we examined social media a little bit, obviously looking for some
Mm-hmm.
folks that can talk to these points. It was interesting that some folks didn't want to be on camera, which I
Mm-hmm.
totally get. When you're taking a stance, whether it's something that seems vitally important to the
Yeah.
American baseline, still there may be a reaction to something that
Yeah.
seems so right. There may be a reaction that you don't want, and then your face is out there,
Yeah.
and you may be.
People are nervous. They're maybe right. There's a rally here in San Jose. People are nervous. Asians are nervous to go to this rally because there's going to be a bunch of Asians in one area. Will they
Right.
be attacked at the rally?
Right. Or just, yeah, if even not attacked there, they may be identified, and then you go to live your life, and then someone is like, oh, I saw you there, you're on the news,
Yeah.
you're a big protester, like, what do you
Yeah.
got to say
Yeah.
now? And you're just like, hey dude, I'm standing up for my rights, like, this doesn't need to be. Yeah. But so the question kind of had is like, when you're looking at social media, what are people offering like suggestions or alternatives, or at this point is it still like super early where people are really just calling attention separate
I
incidents?
think
Because
I think the easy way to put it is unity, right?
yeah, that's
We got to
good.
get some unity. You have different groups and classes that in the past needed supporters, right? The gay community, even if you're not gay, support them, be behind them, right? They're being discriminated against 10 years ago. It was tough to come out of the closet and say you're gay, right? They wanted supporters to back them. So now it's almost like the Asians' turn. Support them. You're not Asian, you're not being hated on, but hey, can you support us or do you back us? I think unity is one thing that's going to get us over this hump.
Right. What is and to that note, a friend of mine, again from the Middle Eastern sort of perspective, was on Facebook promoting a donation thing. So I thought that was super cool. I needed to jump
Yeah.
on that. I tried to jump on it, and then I had some like internet connection issues, which is a bad excuse. But
Yeah.
but what other things can people do for unity? So like a drive, like a funding drive, or like for
Yeah,
instance
a
that
rally,
okay.
a drive, an open forum.
Oh, I like that one.
This is what we're
Yeah.
doing right now. We're
Yeah.
using our platform, our podcast that we usually joke around and have a good time with. This is our voice, this is our platform.
Right.
So getting the word out, getting the word out.
Yeah, that's good too. And
I
then
think
like you
Asians kind of were typecasted almost like a movie, right? Asians have been typecasted of just being chill, just going with the flow, small business owner. Well, now it's time to have an Instagram page dedicated to Asians and supporting whatever Asian athletes, Asian actors. You know,
right.
that's what we're gonna go to. You know,
Yeah. Well, I think yeah,
supporting.
and I think the cool thing about Asian people, again, it's like you have like a different, like, whereas African, I think, like and I'm not saying like black people, I'm saying like African from Africa, there's a
Hmm.
wide spectrum, right? There's like Morocco and Egyptian and like kind of northern Africa, then you have southern Africa, and then you have like other things like Ghana and so there's a whole plethora of different countries within the continent of Africa that are like probably little understood. And like I'm not going to pretend like I understand, but like you start to learn like
Yeah,
this comedian's from Ghana, or this person's from here, or this person's from here. So you start to Egypt from the history books, and
yeah. There's a
or
difference. There's a
yeah, so you start to
difference.
recognize that. And with Asian
Yeah, yeah,
with Asian, it's kind of similar in that there's you have Japanese, we know them from uh like World War II, but then you also know them from a lot of just like Tokyo and different cities like that, and then you have Korean and North Korea, which
yeah.
is again, so there's always this thing where I think it's cool when you start to like dive into the different cultures within the greater umbrella of Asia, because
Yeah, but
it's not
that's positive and all, but here's the negative part. The
okay.
people that are upset with China, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Great point.
You got some right wing groups that are pissed at China. They started it.
Right.
The Kung Flu, we're pissed. We got to wear masks. Fuck that. I don't want to wear masks. They're not going to care if you're Japanese, Thai, or Korean. You got almond, you got snotted eyes. They're going to throw some racial slurs at you. They don't got time to figure out that you're half Filipino or whatever you are.
Right.
You're in their eyes, you're Asian, you're Chinese. I'm gonna hate on you.
Damn. You just
So
shut
that's
down
the
my
negative
good
side.
story. You shut down my good story right there. But yeah,
Well,
yeah, I
well,
get what
I
you're saying.
liked
I
your
get what you're
good
saying.
story. I liked your good story talking about different
Right,
parts
right.
of Asia, right?
I was gonna
It's
talk about
like
all of them. No, it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The negative part
Right.
is
You
I
shut
had
all
a
that
family
down.
member.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a family member this week. This family member this week was asked, "What nationality are you? What type of Asian are you?" Out of nowhere, right? Are you Laotian? The gentleman asked my family member. And my family member said, "No, I'm not Laotian." But why in the hell are you asking someone's race like that?
Right, right.
Right? We're not at a bar or something where you're trying to pick up on you. You're in a
Right.
public area and someone starts bullying you and asking you what type of Asian you are.
Right.
What do they want to hear? They want to hear that you're Chinese so then they could sock you? I mean,
Right.
what do they want out of that? I don't think people give a shit that are racist or extreme right wing. They don't care what Asian you are. They're just ready to hate on you.
Right.
And I think that's what's irking me the most right now is that, like I said, I hate to use this word, but it's open season. Let's verbally assault Asians at the least. Maybe we won't beat up an Asian, but let's throw a racial slur. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is
And
there
it's so, like I said, I predict some Asians gonna get fed up. I'm telling you, it's gonna
is it
happen.
let me ask you this though. Is it unacceptable, or like we said, like we were kind of talking about
Mm.
like protecting or being ready or being prepared, is it
Oh yeah,
like is it unacceptable? I mean, and I'm saying this to try to get to a better way of being silent, right? Like you don't like is it unacceptable to not say anything back, or like what's the way that is gonna get like without you getting hurt in the process of
Okay.
defending yourself?
Okay.
What is the way to like, I mean, like the word
Yeah.
Karen,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, I would be like on the phone being like, you know, you're gonna say some shit, fuck you. Or the getting the phone out thing is a little contentious because you get your phone broken. But I'd rather get the phone out, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and recording the whole thing, because people do that
Yeah.
all
It
the time.
empowers you. It empowers you.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck, I'd be a Karen. I'd be like on 911, just being like, hello, police. Hey,
Yeah. I
fuck,
think, I
there's some
think,
fucker here starting to stir some shit. I'm not trying to go to jail. Get
yeah.
your
I
asses
mean,
over here. You know?
now that I'm getting older, I'm like trying to be intellectual and
Right,
use
right,
my
right.
words more, right? Not just rob the big dumb bouncer that is my identity around town, but I try to
Right, right.
let people know that I did go to college. I do have a normal job, right? And we spoke about it last week. I was heated. I called you. We talked about it, but I came at somebody who I felt that was kind of not really being racist, but had a lame remark towards me. I came at them with some intellect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how we got to fight it a little bit. If someone's going to criticize you or say something off the wall, come at them, ask them a question, you know?
Right. Put them on the not the offensive, but you know, that you're just not sitting there kind of taking it or
Yeah.
reacting the way that they want you to. You're kind of like
Yeah.
putting them in
So
the
let me,
situation. Yeah.
yeah, like I know you heard the story, but I'll
No,
tell
no.
the story to all
Say
the
it. Say
listeners
it.
out there and all the viewers. So last weekend we went to dinner, my family and I, to a place right here, right around the corner from my house, outdoor patio, great food, nice patio. You can bring your dog. So we brought Ozzy, we brought my dog. And there's other dogs out there, and dogs are mingling, and we're ordering our food. And my daughter had Ozzy, and he met another dog there, a big husky. Gentleman was there eating by himself. And something was a little bit off with the dude. It looked like he just left storming the Capitol building. But anyways, without saying his race,
He had horns
uh,
on.
yeah. And so I wasn't trying to bug him too much. He was engulfed in his meal, and his dog was just kind of sitting there, and Ozzy wanted to play with him. And I'll get right to the point that, and when you see other dog owners, you ask, oh, what kind of dog is that? How old's your dog? It's just small talk. It's just common dog courtesy, when you see other dog owners. And he looked at my dog, and his dog didn't really want to play much, right? And Ozzy's 6 months. He wants to play. He wants to get after it. And his big husky was kind of just chilling, maybe didn't want to be bothered. And he looked down at his dog, and he said it loud. He said, hey, you know what? Don't be afraid of that 6-month-old puppy, that boxer. You could kick his ass. He told his dog. Right in front of me. He said that, right?
Right.
And it kind of caught me off guard. And then he told his dog again, if he gets close to you bite his head off. You can do it. And thinking, what the hell is this guy doing to me and my family? Like, why? And we didn't come here looking for a dog fight. Why is he? And you said it greatly when I called you that night. You said passive aggressive.
Like, yeah, he's not coming to you. He's not coming at you.
Yeah.
He's just saying some loud shit, at your dog, which is that's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to spin this into something racial, but if I was his race, would have he have talked shit like that,
Right. Would have been more of a bro down sesh that ended up being, hey, bro.
Yeah.
And he was just keep your dog. Yeah.
And he was being real serious. And it really kind of hurt me and jerked me that this dude's telling his dog, don't worry, you can kick his ass. Right. So I was still in work mode. I just got off work. So like I said, I'm trying to be more intellectual. The wife's giving me a look like, oh, fuck, here we go. Here's Rob starting shit again. Here we go. So I told the dude real witty and real quick. I said, hey, you ever been in any other altercations with other pet owners before?
Right.
That was the question I asked him.
What did he say?
He said, no. Why would you even say that? He said.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the ball in his court. He's going to indirectly talk shit to me. I want to know, has he been in any funk with people before? because that's where this is going. That's where this is going.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, why would you say that? Why would you say that?" I said, "Well, you're giving me some real bar talk, right?" I always reference things back to the bar. I said, if I brought a friend to this restaurant, you had a friend, and out of nowhere, I just told you, guess what? My friend can kick your friend's ass.
Right.
I said, how would you take that? How would you take that? I told the dude. And he just shut me off. He shut me off. He went back to his meal. But I'm thinking, what kind of fucking shit is this? That this dude's coming at me like this on a night where I'm just trying to have dinner with my kids and family. You know, it really, really bugged me.
Right.
Really bugged me.
Right. I wonder
And,
if, and I don't mean to cut you off or end your story right there. I would just wonder that, like what there was to gain from this whole verbal thing he's having with his dog, like the whole passive aggressive thing again, right? Like,
yeah,
what are you supposed to do? Oh, hey, sorry, buddy. Like, oh, my dog just wants to play. And like, I don't understand why it just can't be like a normal conversation between him and you and just be like, hey, like, we're just trying to eat, I love your dog.
yeah,
He's really good looking.
it's like he wanted to have a pissing match, right away. Let's get in a pissing match. My dog can kick your dog's ass.
Right.
But I never asked that. I never said your dog. I got a 6-month-old puppy. You got a 2-year-old big ass husky.
Right.
I'm not even trying to
like. There's some obvious things going on.
Yeah, but if you're talking to me like that, I gotta just think you got a problem with Asians. I'm sorry.
Right.
I gotta come off like that.
Right. Because like we said, like it could have been something super simple, a bro down, like, hey, dude, hey, I love your dog, really good looking dog.
And that's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes.
That's what I mean. Like a normal person who talks to normal people would just be like, yeah, my dog, I would maybe even lie about it. Oh, my dog just is like getting over an injury, like can't really like run around to rip or scar, some shit. Just could you mind like keeping your dog, over there or whatever?
So yeah, so then I start adding things up. My family member, someone asked them what the hell nationality you are.
Right.
Girl at the store calls my family disgusting as she walks by. Fucking dude that just stormed the Capitol building wants a dog fight. Right. Like this is all happening within 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And then we have this problem against Asians. I gotta loop it into that subject. I gotta say it's all part of it. I can't. Like you said earlier, it's not a coincidence.
Right.
This is a prescription. This is a prescription. This isn't just the theory. This is a prescription.
Right.
That's going on right now.
Right. And that's the thing. When you have this like underlying current, right? Each one of these things is entitling someone else to do something.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, and I hate to bring up the police because like I said, like there's a lot of, most of the cops I assume are great cops. We know people that are cops, but it's like if you're a cop and you make a bust, then the next cop is going to be, like a drug bust.
Yeah.
The next cop, and he gets in the newspaper, the next cop is going to look for that big drug bust because it's just a thing. So when we hear about like, oh, this dude got socked because he was Asian, the person that's doing the socking must feel some entitlement or some pride in that. And then the next guy down the street is probably looking for that same opportunity to like come out as like some hero for some racial fucking motivated crime. Like it's definitely a weird thing that whether you're the victim and you feel scared because anything can happen to you, whether you in the opposite side, if you're the perpetrator and you hear about it, and then you're somebody else who looks up to that perpetrator, then you may go out and do some shit too. So it's like this, like,
and these people are picking the right ones, right? They're picking the old lady, the old man.
Yeah. Well, no, like you said,
businessman, the Filipino dude on Market Street,
right,
leaving work, broad daylight, 60 years old, gets jumped from behind,
Yeah, it's all pussy shit.
Well, yeah, but one day they're gonna pick the right one day, and it's.
Well, that's what every victim hopes for, right? That's what the Black Panthers were going after, and then the FBI comes in and fucking snuffs them out. Like Asian groups can't get a bunch of guns and go stand on the Capitol because at some point it becomes a threat to the rest of to the society that other people. So that's where, like, when I ask you, like, what can they do, it's not so much like I know you have the perfect answer. Being prepared is a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, having all the rights you have that's given to you in the Constitution's the right thing to do. It's
But
hard though to have the perfect
yeah,
answer though, right?
it's hard to have the perfect, but one thing my wife's taught me, and people that know me know that I've had some trouble in the past. But one thing my wife's taught me and told me is to really be smart. Be smart about it. Don't just get physical right away. Be
Right.
smart about it. Think about it before you get physical.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Right. So when you're angry or when you lose your temper, you're gonna make a bad mistake.
Right.
Think about it first. Be intellectual about it. Then take it there if you need to take it there.
Yeah.
I guess that's my advice.
No, that's smart. And like I said, I would just, my only other advice is like, especially work in an environment where there's so much red tape, it's like fucking be a Karen, be a Asian Karen, be a black Karen,
Yeah,
be a
yeah, you're
Latino
mentioning that. I
Karen.
remember. Yeah,
Fucking call the cops, put it out there that that's what you're doing
yeah,
at the time. If somebody wants to fuck with you, just be like, I was on call with 911 for 10 minutes before this motherfucker tried to do something. And
yeah,
then like, where
yeah,
were
yeah,
you
yeah,
at? You could have been here in 3 minutes, you know? So, I mean, that's
yeah.
this, but I know that these aren't solutions to the bigger problem. And that's
No,
something
this is
where,
just small time.
yeah,
Rob getting in a fight at a restaurant problems.
yeah. Yeah.
You know.
No, man, but I'm glad you hear it. Like, I mean, like you said, like usually it's like pick up things, and like I said, I've been guilty of being. I mean, I for the, again the sake of the podcast and being honest, I've said the N word, but like in the context of like growing up in San Francisco, it was not an okay thing by your peers, but you have hood friends and you listen
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like of different nationalities, black included, that would drop it all the time, and you'd get a pass for dropping it. Um, and so
yeah.
you
If you're accepted in a certain group,
yeah,
it's gonna be okay.
but like even now, you know, like as an adult, you know, you never want your kid to say it, you never want to say it, you know, like
Yeah,
you know, certain people that maybe they're black and they say it around you, like there's no way in hell you can jump on that same train.
yeah, yeah,
There's been other times where, you know, just like out of pure stupidity when I was young. Like and your buddy kind of gave an example of he's in Atlanta now and lived like close to the spa, but he said he grew up around a Thai family and he's Latino. I
yeah,
had a similar experience where I'm you know, again, half Latino, but my childhood friends all the way up through you know, early college, and you know, I still consider them my family, were Pakistani and Fijian. And so like having that sort of Middle Eastern, if you will, sort of identification, not, and then not being able to tell, like, you know, like these are Pakistani versus Indian, or even like people that dress similarly. Like I remember going to like Great America and I'd be like, hey, do you know them? Because there were Indian people there
mm,
that dress the same. Like maybe the moms dress the same
yeah,
in the
yeah,
traditional garb, but like, you know, just being like that dumb white kid or whatever, you know,
yeah, yeah,
not of that ethnicity, being like, hey, everybody's the same, right? Like blah blah blah. But I think it's a whole nother level when you get into this hate conversation, and you go out there and you physically, you know, whether it's a murder, whether it's a fucking provocation for violence, whether it's a robbery
mhm,
mass, you know, or whether it's an act of violent masked as a robbery, whatever it is, you're looking at somebody going like, these people are inferior to me, and this is my sort of aggression towards them,
yeah,
whatever way it manifests itself. And that's what, like,
yeah,
unfortunately everyone has to like look out for, because they didn't,
yeah.
you know.
And in conclusion, not to say this
Yeah,
is,
it's fine, concluded, because I'm
no, no,
rambling.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I get angry, and
Yeah,
you know, sometimes I can't wait till somebody upsets me, right? I love that almost. I'm sick. I can't wait to engage someone and give someone pushback, right? That's my
yeah,
thing. But overall, I think once leaders, they always say leaders or people in hierarchy say something and highlight the issue, I think that's when people are like, well, I shouldn't be like
yeah.
that, right? You
I
get the
lo-
mayor,
mhm.
you get Biden, you get, you know, celebrities to say, you know, hey, don't do that, don't act like that, or NBA stars saying that. That's when I think things could get better. You know, people
Yeah.
are going to listen to people they think are cool, right,
Right.
and popular. That's
Right.
just the nature of human nature. So we need people to come out that have a huge voice, obviously more than just our platform here, to come out and say something.
Right.
I think like The Rock, right? That was his big thing when he got on Instagram. When things were getting real bad over the summer, he was telling Trump, "Where are you? Where are you? Say something." Right? The Rock was pissed because Trump was just letting everything slide. So I think Joe Biden already made a statement, positive statement. So I think that's where it starts. We got to recognize the problem.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. And we've seen that, and I think that's great advice and great
Yeah.
hope for other celebrities to step up. People in those circles that may not know that they're in the circle, but like, I mean, country music is one of those things that we've seen stars like that drop N bombs or other things, and it's like, there's whole groups of things that we put on this pedestal that can definitely step forward and embrace it. Like, what was it, Bubba Wallace and Black Lives Matter, when, for NASCAR,
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
that was huge because NASCAR itself didn't really,
Yeah.
is a thing that I think most of the
And there's plenty of Asian athletes now. Plenty. Whether they be
yeah,
quarter or half something, there's plenty of Asian athletes to step up besides Jeremy Lin, right? Kyler Murray, his mom's Korean.
yeah, but it doesn't need to be just them. Again, it, like, you're to your
No, but
point,
I think
like,
I think these dipshits out there will listen to those people.
oh yeah, if they're
Impressionable people that are on edge and want to throw out a racial slur to be funny or to trigger somebody. I think they'll listen to athletes.
yeah, and it doesn't need to be but that's what I'm saying. It should be an athlete that looks like them,
Yeah.
that they worship for whatever reason. Maybe it's a dominated sport by a certain type of even if it's a European ethnicity, it's dominated by that European ethnicity or
Yeah.
whatever. They should come out. Like, it should be things that those people, like you say, like, look up to and respect. It shouldn't just
Yeah.
be, I'm the Asian person in this sport, the one token, I'm going to use the word token. I don't know if that's negative or positive, but I'm the one that they
No, no,
put on
no.
this pedestal. It can't just be him, because you're like, everyone realizes that that's the one that should be saying something. It's got to be the fucking other guy that, like, is the dark horse, is the guy that, like, maybe, so there needs to be a little bit of that too, where we all know marketing these days, social media is out there. We all know that
Yeah.
the guy that's already the most craziest dude Steve-O is gonna do a fucking crazy trick. We know that, it's a given, right? The Rock is gonna be in the biggest movie of the summer. We know that. We need that fucking left field person or right field person to jump in the game and be like, look, I know all you motherfuckers love me and I love you, but let's try to step up. And that's where we need to go. And I don't know
Yeah.
that that's there yet, but that's I think that's one of the solutions, one of the thousands of solutions that need to happen. I think that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, dude, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You sharing your experiences over the last few weeks, and obviously you're called to do this specific episode. And I appreciate you listening to
Yeah.
me
I mean, we have a
ramble.
platform, we have a voice.
Yeah.
You know, I'm great that you obliged us and let us take a break, like I said, from our normal funny routine to talk serious. Talk serious. We gotta talk serious once in a while.
Well, I mean, I too don't think this is a one episode kind of thing. I mean, I am glad we touched on it in a previous episode. So I mean, I think we definitely need to check in on it. I think it's a staple of our pod to have people of different
Mhm.
ethnicities. I want to definitely
Yeah.
have some other LGBTQ
Oh, for sure.
folks on here and other things, just to make sure that, like, like you said, we may talk shit, we may try to be jokesters and all that kind of stuff, but we're open and we're listening.
Yeah,
And yeah, if you got something to share, holler at us.
that's right.
All
And
right.
we kept it sober, folks, this time. We didn't drink at all.
I only drink
See?
sake this whole time. No, just kidding. No, but yeah, I'm with you. We'll definitely be serious at some point in these podcasts.
Yeah.
All right, so let's give the outro. All right, drink tokens.
Thank you.
Thank you. All.
Thank you for watching. Hit the like button.
Yes.
Easily I approach the fifth of him because there ain't no joke.